Lesson 9 for May 23 to 29, Creation, Genesis as Foundation, Part 2. Tuesday, May 26, Genesis versus Paganism. Far from being dependent upon ancient pagan creation myths, Genesis seems to have been written in a way that refutes those myths and distances God as creator from them. Question. Read Genesis chapter 1 verses 14 to 19. How are the entities that appear on the fourth day described, and what are their functions? Genesis 1, beginning at verse 14. Then God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the night from the day, and let them be for signs and seasons, and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it was so. Then God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the fourth day. The terms sun and moon were surely avoided because their names in Hebrew were the names or closely related to the names of the sun and moon gods of the ancient Near East and Egypt. The use of the terms greater light and lesser light showed that they were created for specific functions, for signs and seasons and for days and years, and to give light on the earth, as we saw in verses 14 and 15. That is, the text shows very clearly that the sun and moon were not gods, but created objects with specific natural functions, much as we understand them today. Question. Read Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, and verses 18 to 24. How is God intimately involved in the creation of Adam and Eve? Genesis 2:7, And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. And Genesis 2, beginning at verse 18, And the Lord God said, It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him. Out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every bird of the air, and brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. And whatever Adam called each living creature, that was its name. So Adam gave names to all cattle, to the birds of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helper comparable to him. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. Then the rib which the Lord God had taken from man he made into a woman, and brought her to the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother, and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. The ancient Near Eastern myths unanimously depict man's creation as an afterthought, resulting from an attempt to relieve the gods of hard labour. This mythical notion is contradicted by the biblical idea that man is to rule the world as God's vice-regent. Nothing in the creation of humans was an afterthought. If anything, the text points to them as the climax of the creation account, showing even more starkly how different the pagan and biblical accounts really are. Genesis thus presents a corrective against the myths of the ancient world. Moses used certain terms and ideas incompatible with pagan concepts, and he did this by simply expressing the biblical understanding of reality and of God's role and purpose in creation. So to finish today, thousands of years ago, the biblical creation story was at odds with the prevailing culture. Today, the biblical creation story is at odds with the prevailing culture. Why shouldn't we be surprised?
Hi there. Thanks for watching this video on the Advent-band Ministries YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to be alerted whenever we upload new videos. So, until we meet him in the clouds, may God continue to bless you.
This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind and Hearing Impaired, Christian Record Services for the Blind, the Sabbath School Department, and Hope Channel. You can also listen on the official Sabbath School 4 app and the Apple iTunes app, Sabbath School with Percy Harrold. Remember, God is always faithful.